Hey guys, here I'm coming at you with another Trader Giotto's pizza review. I was recommended to try this other variant of Trader Giotto's margherita. I'm a margherita fan myself, so I think this will work out just great. But let's just take a look at this pizza on here. Now this pizza seems like a pretty flat crust. Seems like they kind of recommend the char, which is nice. I'm looking forward to that. Definitely got some burned areas around the edge there. It definitely seems to be a one cheese pizza. I think you can kind of like pick out the circular mott spots here. It looks like they went with a flower pattern strategy, petals inside. I was requested to look at some of the origin story and lore that's provided on the back of the Trader Giotto's in the form of these images. But really, I think that these are the same images as my last pizza box from Trader Giotto's, and that doesn't even look like the pizza that I currently am holding here. So I'm not sure that I can take this backstory very seriously when it's just a generic story on every single pizza, because every pizza kind of has its own story, and I think that this isn't really honoring that in a way that it should. This pizza doesn't seem to recommend or have special tips like some of the other Trader Giotto's pizzas I've had. It even tells you microwave instructions, and that's just something I'm not going to deal with at all. But it's not recommending any sort of special drizzles of olive oil, so I don't think this is like, you know, I tend to think of margherita as the more artisanal pizza type, but I think that this is kind of, I'm already a little bit off put by how they're not really honoring the margherita as a pizza. So let's get this box open and let's check it out a little bit here. All right, so here's the pizza. Now this is that flower petal strategy I was talking about with the cheese orientation. Definitely seems like they're aligning with that here. Even looks like they have the 6 slices, which I'm pretty impressed with. I think usually they go a little bit more on the image, box image pizza, but here it looks like they're doing the 6 as well, so that's pretty good. Ignore that. Looks like we also have 2 different cheeses going on here. We got a Parm, presumably a Parm, maybe an Asiago, and a Mott's. The tomato sauce itself looks pretty promising. And we've got a little bit of oregano on there too. So I'm going to go ahead and put some additional toppings on here. Maybe a little bit of additional Mott's, maybe a little bit of additional brock, we'll see. But yeah, let's get this thing open. I went ahead and added some broccoli to this pizza. I'm deciding against adding additional mozzarella. I think that to get the full effect of what this pizza is like, I need to keep it a little bit pure, so I'm not going to add additional mozz just because we do have that floral pattern mozz on there. I think that it's pretty well covered, so we're going to let it go on its own. But as I was opening the box, I did notice it says ready in a few minutes here. I don't know, like the cooking time itself says 10 minutes or 9 minutes. I don't know if I would consider that a few minutes, so it seems a little bit misleading that this box is saying that kind of, you know, making that kind of claim without anything to really support that. So a little bit thrown off there, but let's get this in the oven. Now once again, I'm putting this pizza in right on the rack there. I don't want any sort of interference with this za and the oven. So we're getting it right in there. As you can see, I've got this at my preferred temperature, and we're gonna do it for 9 minutes, but you know what? It might end up being a little bit longer. I have a feeling, in my experience, this will not be ready in 9 minutes. Hey guys, so I'm just taking a look at this, and I don't really think that's ready to go, so we're gonna do another maybe 2 minutes on there? Alright guys, so I just had a bite of this this pizza here, and I just want to start reviewing this right off the bat. So this guy right here is crust. Don't be off-put by that. This pizza, the first thing that I noticed was chewy crust again. I think this is maybe coming down to user error, but I'm not totally certain. I think I might need to start using some sort of sheet, just by being very anti-sheet, to put the pizza down on so that it can crust up a little bit on the bottom there, instead of going right in the oven directly on the rack. So chewy bottom, potentially avoidable. Potentially avoidable. All right, so the rest of this. Broccoli was a good choice. The tomato sauce, still a little bit low quality. I don't expect high quality tomato sauce, but it definitely kind of stands out in this. But really the main part of this comes down to the cheese. The cheese is significantly better than the cheese on the other Trader Giotto's pizza I've had, but it also has kind of an immediate mouthfeel of like smoothness, which is not something that I always want on my pizza. I want it to have a little bit of texture, a little bit of grain, but this mozzarella certainly didn't have that. I think adding some additional fresh mozz would have been a much better choice on this. So in terms of rating this pizza, in a silo, I think this would be a 3.25 out of 5, maybe. But in the context of my other review, I think I was a little bit generous in that last one. So I would definitely say this is better than the last one. So I'm going to bump that last one down from a 3.5 to a 3. I'm going to say that this is a 3.5. So I think this is a good base for 3.5 out of 5 pizzas from a rating perspective. Definitely could be bumped up to a 3.75 out of 5, maybe even a 4 with additional toppings, just to make it a little bit more interesting, just because it is such a good base pizza. And yeah,